MTG Scoundrels, it's in the cardboard. Ladies and gentlemen, scoundrels of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Modern Weekly. Today on the docket, I once again have my low voice, and of course this week, Omnath Cascade versus Eldrazi Ramp. Omnath Cascade taking advantage of the Cascade spells still in the format, and of course, Birthing Ritual being the main card you want to hit off it. Starting off here with an E-Temple into a Vexing Bauble. Of course, Eldrazi Ramp doing Eldrazi Ramp things, ramping up into big Eldrazi spells. Though now they're starting to play Ice-Till Explorer as well. There's a Windswept Heath and a pass. Second E-Temple and go. Now Windswept Heath is going to get cracked here. Probably finding a Triome. Yes, indeed. Zagoth Triome. So they have Swamp Forest and Plains available. Though these Omnath Cascade lists are running a little bit more cards that specifically would destroy lands. There's a Flooded Strand. And passing. End step. Kozilek's command for 2. Probably making dudes and scrying. Yes, indeed. Looks like a Gold Border Forest, probably. And one other card. Looks like putting the forest to the bottom, putting the other card on top. Untapping. Drawing for turn after drawing for the Kozilek's command earlier. There's a forest. Here's a Malevolent Rumble. Bajuka Bog, Eldrazi Temple, Ice-Till Explorer, and Utopia Sprawl. Taking the Ice-Till Explorer. So there's already 4 types in the bin. Actually, make that 5. Made a spawn off the Rumble and passing. Flooded Strand being cracked. This is what Ramp wants to do. Fill the yard with types where they can cast Emrakul the Promised End. Or any other 7 mana spells. Though can't cast Ugin Eye of the Storms just yet. Found an Elegant Parlor off of that fetch. Put a land into the bin. Here's a Windswept Heath. One of the problems of the Omnath Cascade list is if they don't have Fire Ice early or a Birthing Ritual early, they're not doing a ton the first couple turns. Finding an untapped Stomping Ground here. So still just missing blue. But there's an Obsidian Charmaw. That'll destroy an Eldrazi Temple. And that'll set back the Eldrazi Ramp player a little bit. Also, just a flying 4/4 will do the job. You may also see cards such as Magnetic Hellkite. Magmatic? Yeah, something like that. There is a Misty Rainforest. That's going to get cracked. Hellkite being one of the new cards from Dragonstorm. Tarkir Dragonstorm, that is. Breeding Pool is going to come in untapped, it looks like. And there is I Still Explore. So that really lets the player take advantage of some of these things, specifically the lands that have been milled over, and helps negate the loss of lands from cards such as Obsidian Charmaw. Finding a hedge maze here. Off of the fetch. There's a lot of triggers with I Still Explore. Caught the first mill trigger. Let's see if the second mill trigger happens. Yep, milled over an E-Temple. And surveilled away in Ugin's Labyrinth. Passing the turn here. Obsidian Charmaw will eventually get in for 4 more than likely. Now it's just a matter of sequencing. There is a Leyline Binding that's going to hit the Vexing Bauble. The Vexing Bauble, particularly here, is doing a great job of dealing with Solitude. Looks like it's going to get cracked in response to draw a card. But being able to stop Solitude main board is pretty helpful. And here's a Quantum Riddler. Drawing a card on ETB. That is being warped in. But here is a Solitude, exiling a Solitude to go ahead and deal with the I Still Explore. So that'll bring us to 15 to 18. Charmaw gets in. I'll bring us back to 15-14. There's a land drop with a Ghost Quarter. Probably a good thing that the Cascade player dealt with. Oh wow, backup Vexing Bauble. There you go. It was probably a good thing that they dealt with the I Still Explore, because being able to just Ghost Quarter over and over again would be backbreaking. Also, quick apology here. That Zagoth Triome actually makes Swamp Mana, Forest Mana, or Island Mana, which now is going to get taken out by that Ghost Quarter. We're so used to a lot of these 5-color lists playing in Dotha Triome. That, of course, being, the domain players in the format. Finding a Planeswalker off the Ghost Quarter. Instead of going to find an island. So, looks like white mana being the current need of the Cascade player. Just passing from there. Sitting at 15 to 14. Getting in for 4. That'll bring us to 15 to 10. And here's the Birthing Ritual. So now the card advantage starts to come into play for the Omnath Cascade player. Looking at 7. Going to get another Obsidian Charmaw. And that'll destroy the Eldrazi Temple on the battlefield. Not a bad sequence there. Charmaw for Charmaw. Now the Eldrazi Ramp player back on the back foot. Here's a Windswept Heath. Or excuse me, that is not a Windswept Heath. That is in fact a Wooded Foothills. Passing the turn. Getting in for 4 again, that'll bring us to 15 to 6. The Cascade player a little stuck on mana, but Birthing Ritual doing its job. Oh, bringing in a Quantum Riddler to go digging. Drawing a card. Cracking the Wooded Foothills on the end step. That'll bring us to 15 to 5. Finding a forest. Drawing for turn. That is an Emrakul the Promised End. Looking at the graveyard. I believe there's at least 6 types between K-Command, Creature, Malevolent Rumble, Land, and a Utopia Sprawl in there? At minimum? Oh, and there's a Vexing Bauble in there too, because that got sacrificed. So Emrakul the Promised End might be in play here. Just to be safe, there's an All Is Dust underneath Ugin's Labyrinth. And here is Emrakul the Promised End. Which will stop Solitude being cast for free. Specifically the Vexing Bauble. And the Eldrazi Ramp player are going to take the turn of the Cascade player. And with Birthing Ritual out there, this gives you a lot of options. Cascade player just trying to make sure there was enough mana. But 7 types in the bin will do it. Creature, enchantment, artifact, kindred, instant sorcery, and land. Sequencing here mattering a fair bit. That Quantum Riddler is definitely going to end up attacking into that Emrakul. Here's a Windswept Heath. That's going to get cracked. Finding in some form. Probably a breeding pool if there is one. There is a breeding pool. So I'll bring us to 12 to 5. Yes, those Shardless Agents, that Shardless Agent and that Bloodbraid Elf just getting blanked by that Vexing Bauble. Ooh, drawing a Fire Ice. Ice won't work on that Emrakul. Quantum Riddler going to get in, get blocked by the Emrakul to kill it off. End step, Birthing Ritual trigger. And getting rid of the Omnath on the board will be pretty strong here as well. And there's a Solitude in there, a Magmatic Hellkite. Which, apologies, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that. Magmatic. But you can go ahead and get the Solitude, have it enter, target nothing. Doesn't have to target anything. And that's pretty good, because that means besides the Solitude in hand, there's only maybe one more Solitude in the entire deck, because one was exiled for the casting of the other earlier in the match. And then it will be the Cascade player's turn once again. Was that enough to mess with everything? Will be the question. Looking over the options. Has a blue source for ice. Here's a Hedge Maze surveilling, putting the Birthing Ritual into the bin. Ooh, there is a Sire of Seven Deaths in hand, it looks like, for the Eldrazi Ramp player as well. Just going to move to the end step, like Birthing Ritual, try to find an answer. Try to hit another Solitude. Nope, instead just finds Omnath. That'll draw a card. And passing the turn. And here is Sire of Seven Deaths. Attacking in with a 13/13. I mean, maybe you ice a land there in the upkeep, but that'll do it. Game 1. Going to Eldrazi Ramp. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. We appreciate all of you that have been tuning in lately. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday. Moving into sideboards, I don't necessarily think Eldrazi Ramp's going to do a whole ton here. Their main deck already deals with most of the problematic cards in the Omnath Cascade list. That being said, Cascade probably bringing in a couple of things, more than likely Force of Vigor, which is one heck of a card, specifically just to deal with Vexing Bauble, Talismans, and of course Utopia Sprawls to slow down the ramp of the Eldrazi Ramp player. But they also aren't going to bring in too much besides that. They already have plenty of land hate, so you'll probably see it stay very similar to what it was. If the Eldrazi Ramp player does bring in anything, you could see Dismember being a card that is leaned upon here. Probably bringing in a couple of copies to help deal with some problematic threats that are going unanswered. But other than that, it's best just to keep the list as is, considering the amount of land hate you already have in the main deck. Moving on to our ads, definitely check out our friends over at Arcane Artistry that make wonderful Food treasure tokens in the stained glass style. They've been featured over on EDH Hijinks as well as the Spike Feeders, and their Etsy link is in the description below. So definitely check them out. And of course, check out friends of the channel, hosts of the channel, Grove Warden Games, a wonderful place to storm out. Link to their store is in the description below. And as always, check out artists of our channel, Sean Gerard. They make great art and are open to new projects, whether you're looking for something for a gift for a friend or for a professional setting. Definitely check them out. Instagram up on the screen and email in the description. And last but not least, check out our socials. We are at MTGScoundrels over on Blue Sky, Twitter, and Facebook, and we are most active over on Blue Sky. So give us a follow. We definitely talk Modern over there, as well as other formats, and just Magic the Gathering in general. As always, in the comments below, let us know what decks you would like to see featured on the channel. We do listen, and if we have a player that is playing the list you're looking for, we try to get them up as soon as we can. And of course, let us know what you think of the Modern format currently and the status of it. We believe here that it's in a pretty good spot, but we always love hearing more from you guys. And that being said, here we are moving in to game number 2. And here we are, both players, looks like both of them taking a mulligan, at least one here. As we move into game number 2, Cascade going to stick at 6. And Eldrazi Ramp will as well. Starting off with a Misty Rainforest and passing the turn. Breeding Pool untapped, bring us to 20 to 18. Into an Ancient Stirrings. Don't totally see all the options here. Ooh, looks like finding the Vexing Bauble early, which really helps protect the threats of the Eldrazi Ramp player. Misty Rainforest being cracked. Finding the Triome. And depending on the follow-up, this really opens things up for the Cascade player. There's the Stomping Ground. And here is a Birthing Ritual. That is the turn 2 play Cascade would like to have. Ghost Quarter and a Vexing Bauble. The Ghost Quarter is going to go after that Zagoth Triome immediately. And getting the Vexing Bauble on the board pretty good here. Island being found off of the Ghost Quarter. And while that does put Eldrazi Ramp down a land, overall probably just a better play to slow things down for the Cascade player. Here's a Flooded Strand. Estrand will get cracked. Probably finding something that produces white mana. Just a matter of what. Elegant Parlor is an option. Oh, finding a Hollowed Fountain here. Taking 2, going to 14. Or taking 3, excuse me. Into Clarion Conqueror. Well, that'll slow some things down for the Eldrazi Ramp player. Because notably, it also stops Eldrazi Spawn from being sacrificed for mana. Not to mention the multiple talismans the deck likes to play. And the Cascade player deciding not to grab anything off of the Birthing Ritual trigger here, just to keep the Clarion Conqueror on the board. Hoping that's enough to slow down the Ramp player. There's an Eldrazi Temple. Into a Malevolent Rumble. Making a spawn, milling 4. Finding a Wooded Foothills. And passing the turn. Clarion Conqueror getting in for 3. Bring us to 14 to 15. Birthing Ritual trigger. Looks like the Cascade player leaving mana open for possible Force of Negation. If need be. Taking nothing off of the Birthing Ritual trigger once again. Ooh, but here is Fire Ice. Casting the ice side to tap the Eldrazi Temple. Wooded Foothills return. I'll get cracked. Maybe just finding a forest or a hedge maze. Oh, finding a forest. Tapping the breeding pool, putting a Utopia Sprawl on the forest. And there is a Talisman of Curiosity, prepping for when that Clarion potentially leaves the battlefield. Clarion getting in for another 3. That'll bring us to 14 to 11. End step. Similar Song and Dance. And passing the turn with finding nothing off of the Birthing Ritual. And also kind of stuck on mana here. Here's an Ice Till Explorer. Finding a Ghost Quarter. Ooh, there should be a... Okay. Forest getting milled over. And here's a Leyline Binding in response to the trigger, which is going to take at least 2. That's going to take the Ice Still Explorer. And passing the turn. Getting in for 3 once again. That'll bring us to 14-8. Birthing Ritual trigger. Wow, Counting Mana must be thinking about getting rid of that Clarion Conqueror. Finding an Omnath Locus of Creation, sacking the Clarion. So I'll get a card draw. And maybe it's just to be able to have access to better mana in the future? But that unlocks a lot of stuff here for the Eldrazi Ramp player. There's an Uggin's Labyrinth. Looks like a Devourer of Destiny underneath it. Seven mana. Okay, here's Ugin, Eye of the Storms. Cast trigger. Gonna hit the Birthing Ritual. No Force of Negation. That is a rough spot for the Omnath player. Taking up the Ugin, gaining 3 life. That'll bring us back to 14-11. And drawing a card. Passing the turn. End step. Here's a Leyline Binding. Going after the Vexing Bauble. And not the Ugin. Though I guess you got 2 problems you need to deal with. Cracking the Vexing Bauble. Drawing a card. So Vexing Bauble is gone. Ugin still active. And untapping and drawing for turn. There was a land drawn. Oh, there's the Elegant Parlor. That's going to make... well, going to gain 4 life off of the Omnath. That'll bring us to 18-11. 3 mana available. And you have access to Solitude, depending on what card is in your hand, to exile to go with it. Omnath attacking. Looks like coming in at the Ugin. The Eldrazi spawn's going to get in the way. And here's a Force of Vigor. Destroying 2 artifacts or enchantments. Specifically here, the Talisman and the Utopia Sprawl. Untapping. Drawing for turn. Okay, looks like there is a discussion of the Force of Vigor. Yes, that couldn't have been cast for free on the turn of the Omnath player. So, looks like there's a discussion of this actually being cast in the upkeep instead of end of turn to deal with those 2 permanents. Oh, and looks like an extra card is being drawn here. So apologies to the viewers. There should have only been one card drawn. And that was the card for turn that was already drawn. Sometimes in the heat of a game, things get a little bit messed up. So we apologize there. Looks like land being played for turn. And playing the Sire of Seven Deaths that was in hand. And that will trigger the Ugin, which is going to exile the Leyline Binding. Ghost Quarter is going to hit one of the lands. And then that'll get played for turn. Ooh, missing a mill target here too. But that's also going to hit the Hallowed Fountain. And upticking the Ugin, gaining 3 life. That'll bring us to 18 to 14. But always ask for a judge in these situations. And remember, take everything one step at a time. And don't rush through things. That's how you will avoid most mistakes. Drawing for the Ugin trigger after gaining 3 life and passing the turn. So once again, apologies for the extra life that was... Excuse me, the extra card that was drawn. Solitude here. With the extra mana that was created off of the Omnath on the second land entering the battlefield. So this is being done before the phases can make the mana go away. And then the turn has been passed. So now here's the pickle of Ugin still being on the battlefield. Getting 4 life here off of the Windswept Heath entering, which will bring us to 26 to 16. The Windswept Heath getting cracked to bring us to 25 to 16. More than likely. But that Sire of Seven Deaths definitely causing some issues. Finding the tap steam vents. Oh, maybe not. Maybe there's a Thundering Falls in there. Oh, nope, deciding with the breeding pool. An unchecked Ugin. Ultimately what is taking over. And here's a Magmatic Hellkite. Off of the mana that was generated from the Omnath. So that's going to destroy a target land, or non-basic land specifically, and they'll be able to search for a basic, and it'll enter with a stun counter on it. Now, creatures attacking the Ugin. Sire of Seven Deaths going to get in the way of the Omnath. So that's going to bring us to 28 to 23, and the Ugin only taking 3. Untapping and drawing. Not a lot left in hand for the Omnath player. No birthing ritual to find more value. Misty Rainforest getting cracked. Bring us to 28 to 22. Finding a forest. course, one of those still having a stun counter on it. Or the stun counter has come off, but it remains tapped. Activating Ugin, making a bunch of mana. To cast a large K command. So Ugin trigger is going to exile the Magmatic Hellkite. Kozilek's command is going to exile the Solitude. And make 7 spawns. And here's the Sire of Seven Deaths getting in. That'll bring us to 21 to 29. Drawing for turn. And just scooping them up from there. Game, set, match going to Eldrazi Ramp. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. And we will see you all next week.